Hello there. I'm here to show you a wonderful place.
Hello, Wastelanders. As I'm sure you've heard, the Fallout franchise, a beloved, homegrown American lore about a retro-futuristic, post-apocalyptic USA, has finally gotten its own TV series. And from the 2 trailers I've seen so far, it looks like it's going to be fascinating. And from the 2 very short trailers I've seen so far, I'm going way out on a limb in this video, and I'm going to say that I think the series might be loosely based around the narrative structure of what the Library of Congress called America's greatest and best-loved homegrown fairy tale. That's right. You probably already guessed it. I'm talking about the circa 1900 children's novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, which spawned the iconic 1939 movie, The Wizard of Oz. You might be saying to yourself that it's not so surprising 2 epic stories should resemble each other. After all, Joseph Conrad did postulate in his influential 1949 work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, that all epic heroic stories follow a similar archetypal structure of departure, initiation, and return. But I think there are a lot more similarities at play here than that. Let's examine the evidence, shall we? First things first. The youthful Fallout series protagonist, Lucy, featured in nearly every Amazon promotional release, is played by Ella Purnell. Brunette-haired and wide-eyed, Lucy physically resembles the iconic 1939 movie portrayal of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz's Dorothy by Judy Garland. Like Dorothy, Lucy has never been away from her sheltered home. Dorothy comes from a small farm in Kansas, surrounded by fields of wheat and corn. This is not so dissimilar from the agrarian images of Lucy's home in Vault-33 that we see in the trailer, cornfields and all. It's being projected onto a wall with something called the Telesonic 3D, a name reminiscent of the early colorization technology Technicolor used in movies like The Wizard of Oz. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, it is an introduction of a murderous evil within her own community that forces Dorothy to run away from black and white Kansas in an attempt to save her companion Toto's life. Though we don't yet know who Lucy believes she is saving, from what we can tell, a murderous evil within the community of Vault-33 forces Lucy to leave her simple existence where life is peachy and morality is black and white. In Baum's original story, the storm of a towering cyclone takes Dorothy out of the world she knew before and thrusts her into a much more dangerous one. In Fallout, despite a time delay, it is the storm of a towering mushroom cloud that has taken away the world from before and replaced it with the much more dangerous one Lucy finds herself in. These trailer images show some sort of illness or tragedy befalling Lucy's father in the vault and seem somewhat like Dorothy's fears that she must find a way to help an ailing Auntie Em in Kansas. In the surreal world of Oz, Dorothy encounters new factions, new territories, new enemies, and new allies. The Munchkins, the Winkies, Emerald City, the Quadlings, regions and peoples ruled by leaders both benefic and malicious, aren't unlike the factions that are familiar to fans of Fallout and that Lucy appears to encounter in the wastes of California. The Brotherhood, the NCR, the Vault Dwellers, the Raiders, etc.
You should not be alone.
In the realm of allies, Dorothy had the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, Toto, and the Cowardly Lion. We can see from the trailers that Lucy appears to have a Tin Man in her Brotherhood of Steel acquaintance, Maximus, played by Aaron Moten. The Tin Man in Dorothy's company was made of clockwork and metal, superficially an invulnerable figure like Maximus when clad in his power armor. The Tin Man in Dorothy's company was discovered literally rusted stuck in a moment he couldn't move on from until Dorothy compassionately intervened. In a potentially parallel dynamic, a moment from Maximus's past is revealed in the trailer, a moment
Why
he
did you
can't
join the
move on
Brotherhood?
To hurt the people who hurt me?
His need for revenge appears to be his overriding drive. Will Lucy's influence help him progress beyond it and find his heart? The first new companion that Dorothy meets in Oz is the Scarecrow. Though he has some insecurities about his own intelligence, he serves as a wise and important guide through the new land she is traveling. I suspect that the character played by Michael Emerson, identified as Wilzig, might just fit the bill for the Fallout Scarecrow as an intelligent but anxious voice.
You need to go home. You come from a world of rule.
Fragile and insecure, he advises caution much like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. As a side note, it is possible that Michael Emerson's character also fulfills a role akin to the wizard's less impressive form as the humble carnival trickster, Professor Marvel, an illusionist who understands the challenges of journeying alone and offers campfire advice to Dorothy as she sets out from home on her own for the first time in the movie version of the story. But primarily, he seems to be a learned man of science appearing in a lab coat and injecting something into his head. Perhaps, like the Scarecrow, he is obsessed with his brain. In the second trailer, he appears hurt on his back, much like the Scarecrow, often on his back with pieces of himself missing. In fact, the brain obsession and missing pieces are taken a step further, as it is Wilzig's disembodied head that most probably is seen being carried by Lucy in this scene here. And later in a burlap bag in numerous images, including promotional movie art. If so, being represented in the group as a valuable brain in a burlap sack is perfectly on brand with the character of the Scarecrow. It's time to talk about Toto. Fallout's Toto would seem to be the dog CX-404. Like Toto, I expect CX-404 to be a static but beloved character that helps kick off the occasional plot point. CX-404 appears in many scenes in the company of Lucy, Wilzig, and the Ghoul, continuing a tradition of Fallout canine companions with mysterious origins and allegiances. I also really hope that the rumors are unfounded and that they don't kill CX-404 in the series. At this point, you may be wondering where the mysterious and charismatic Ghoul played by Walter Goggins fits into all this. Admittedly, at first glance it's tempting to cast the Ghoul as a form of the witch.
Well, my little pretty, I can cause accidents too.
The Ghoul has been shaped for centuries by horrors and traumas that no one can know because irradiated ghouls are nearly immortal.
Small drop in a very, very large bucket.
His appearance has been twisted by the same force that has given him longevity, much like the witch and her magic. He appears to be a competitor of Lucy's, ruthless and cryptic. He warns of dangers while posing one himself.
Ain't much stage cleanup here, Vault-tec.
Much like the witch who wants Dorothy's magic slippers for her own. But I have a better theory for who the Ghoul resembles. First encountered as a threatening enemy in a dark wilderness, the lion attacks Dorothy and her retinue, presenting a fearsome and deadly appearance before ultimately revealing that his bravado is a cover for his most terrible secret. He is a coward. Like the lion, the Ghoul is by reputation a formidable foe, and appears to initially be in conflict with Lucy and her allies. The trailers also show, however, that Cooper Howard, the man behind the Ghoul, once had a lot to lose as the celebrity spokesperson for the powerful and shady corporation of Vault-tec.
Because if the worst should happen tomorrow, the world is going to need you to build a better day after.
Players of the Fallout games already know that Vault-tec kept most of their most terrible secrets, possibly including starting the nuclear Armageddon that they are selling protection from, masked behind a veneer of benevolence. A veneer that celebrity spokespeople like Cooper Howard were responsible for reinforcing. If you have played the games, you already know that Vault-tec's blessings all come with a price. What warning signs did Howard ignore so he could continue cashing his Vault-tec checks? What did his inaction in the face of his insider knowledge ultimately cost him? It stands to reason, then, that the bravado of the Ghoul was cultivated to protect Howard's darkest conviction, that he is an unforgivable coward. And if I haven't lost you yet, it's time to have some fun speculating who, if anyone, is the mysterious wizard. The wizard is not only the title character of Baum's story, but also the most complicated one. The wizard rules Emerald City, a thriving metropolis that glows green like a beacon of wealth in the distance. In fact, this trope was transparently used in Fallout 4 when the Great Green Jewel, Diamond City, was a crucial destination in the main storyline and ruled by a mayor with dark secrets. Getting back to the Fallout TV series and The Wizard of Oz, as ruler of Emerald City, the wizard is both revered and feared. He is known by all, but very few have ever truly seen him. Eventually, the wizard is revealed to have a dualistic nature, one part helpful, one part manipulative and calculating. Yes, these are spoilers, but you aren't allowed to complain about me spoiling a 124-year-old story. So I'll take a shot and say that the complicated wizard could be embodied in the complicated entity Vault-tec. Not only is Vault-tec's mascot Fallout Boy the titular figure of the franchise, like the wizard, fans of the Fallout game know that the wealthy Vault-tec, like the wizard, was involved in the highest levels of government power and was looked to for protection from the dangers of an uncertain world, but was also deceptive and self-serving, experimenting on and manipulating Vault dwellers in appalling ways. Indeed, the Wizard of Bomb's book attempted to appear to each of Dorothy's companions as a form of their greatest fear in an effort to manipulate them through trauma. Even if you aren't yet a Fallout franchise follower, you can see in that brief trailer that using celebrity Cooper Howard as their spokesperson demonstrates that Vault-tec, like the Wizard, had a penchant for putting on a show while pulling the strings, and this is something Howard seems to speak to, however cryptically, as the Ghoul.
There's always somebody behind the wheel.
And now for the inevitable question, who is the witch? The Wicked Witch of the fairy tale was one of several such witches who seemed motivated by power and who hoarded all objects of power for themselves. Certainly the latest trailer shows some contenders for the witch, like this shopkeeper who collects valuable rarities and appears to be one of the first to encounter Lucy, on her journey.
I thought all you dipshits were dead.
There's also a woman leading what may be the NCR forces that could be compared to the Wicked Witch commanding her soldiers. It's equally possible that the NCR woman here might also be generally good, akin to one of the good witches of Baum's fairy tale like Glinda. However, at the risk of being wrong about, frankly, all of this, when more information comes to light, I suspect that the aspect of the evil witch won't belong to just one character. I think it will be shared by any entity in the Fallout series who is ruthless and covetous of the resources of others. This long list can include criminals, con men, raiders, and other opportunists, but it may also include larger factions like the NCR or the Brotherhood of Steel. Just as the witch commanded powerful forces and pursued Dorothy for her magic slippers, many groups in the Fallout wasteland have amassed power by siphoning technology and resources for themselves. In fact, despite their relatively benevolent presence in games like Fallout 4, I think the Brotherhood of Steel as witch might be something we see play out through the character of Maximus. The Brotherhood of Steel is covetous of technology like that found in Vault 33. It is possible that Maximus is on a mission from the Brotherhood to take resources of some sort from Vault 33, since we see him entering a vault like Lucy's in full power armor pretty aggressively. So our Brotherhood of Steel Tin Man might initially be a representative of the Jealous Witch, just as Baum's Tin Man initially dwelt within the Wicked Witch's domain in the West. In another parallel, fans of the Fallout games will know that the Brotherhood of Steel is distinguished by many military technologies, but maybe none so distinctive as their air force of flying vertibirds, a valuable asset in the sky just as the flying monkeys were for the Wicked Witch. You know, there is another aspect to all of this that we have not discussed yet, and it is a fun one. What is everyone fighting over? In The Wizard of Oz, the conflict began and ultimately ended over the possession of magic slippers, and I believe I might see, at least symbolically, what the magic slippers of the Fallout TV show are. The latest Fallout trailer gives us a glimpse of Lucy's Pip-boy, an icon of the series. The Pip-boy is a powerful computerized support system that few beyond the vaults possess. I couldn't help but notice that the Pip-boy seen on Lucy's arm in the trailer is a decidedly silver metallic, a look that deviates from the games. People in the comments will doubtless point out that Fallout often changes the look of iconic items when introducing a new addition to the franchise, and that might explain the choice of a shiny silver color, yes. But I have another explanation. Just hear me out. The magic slippers that Dorothy wore in Baum's book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, were not the ruby slippers seen in the 1939 movie. They were originally silver and conferred powers to Dorothy. The slippers were even revealed to have the power to transport Dorothy home to Kansas. but they also put a target on her back from anyone who wished to possess the slippers for themselves. So while we don't know what Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul are competing for, we do know the silver Pip-boy could contain or at least represent powerful secrets and be a way of finding Lucy's hidden and relatively resource-rich home, Vault 33. Ultimately, Dorothy and Baum's wonderful Wizard of Oz kills the evil witch when she tries to steal Dorothy's slippers, and of course, many people have seen Judy Garland's Dorothy kill the witch in the movie, too. Lucy also appears to move from Babe in the Woods to Killer, seen holding a head in one shot and being called a killer by the Ghoul as she emerges blood spattered from some kind of struggle.
You little killer.
I've had a rough week.
Since the producers of the Fallout series have described Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul as the three main protagonists, it is likely we will see significant character arcs for not just Lucy, but the Ghoul and Maximus as well. Will the Lion have the courage to find his integrity? Will the Tin Man soften his armored heart? How will the Scarecrow and Toto fit into the picture? To be clear, I don't assume that the Fallout series will look like a point-for-point repaint of a 124-year-old American children's novel, and the next trailer could blow all my theorizing out the window, but the series, like the fairy tale, will speak to larger prevailing socioeconomic issues through the lens of an innocent young protagonist thrown into a fantastical world of danger and intrigue by powers far beyond her own as she, presumably, safeguards allies, finds her power, and searches for a way to return home to her family in need despite manipulative magnates and the interference of dangerous rivals.
To disagree on how.
And you can't tell me that the Land of Oz didn't also have some pretty crazy mutations going on.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Thank you for watching. Please leave a like to help the YouTube algorithm spread my crazy ideas, and let me know what you thought of them in the comments below. Later, Raiders. I will see you in the next one.